Welcome back to my channel, The Holistic Boss. If you're new, I want to say welcome. I'm Coach Renee, and in today's video, I want to talk about how inflammation can turn into arthritis, joint pain, and what the contributing factors are. These are hidden stabilizers, flower enhancers. All of these may be contributing to your arthritis, your inflammation, and your joint pain. And as I stated before in my previous videos, there are over 100 different types of arthritis. And I know we look at arthritis as one and that's it, but there are over 100. And doing my research in the last few months, the last year, the last couple of weeks even, this is not even touching the amount of arthritis that there are that's plaguing so many people in this country. And arthritis, unfortunately, is the leading cause of many disabilities in the United States alone. And so when I did this research, I was really like, wow. And literally there is probably an arthritis going all the way from A to Z in the alphabets. Literally from A to Z. You probably can find an arthritis. But although many arthritis cannot be reversed or prevented, there are things that you can do to manage and prevent the onset of arthritis if you don't already have it. So those are the things that I want to talk about with you today. So I'm going to talk about not only the top 3 that most of you already know about, but I want to talk about how it's damaging your cartilages, your bones, and those things. And then I'm going to give you some resources. I'm going to share some resources with you. So you want to stay to the end of the video to get the resources that I'm going to share. And also I'm going to be sharing with you 2 proteins that affect arthritis and that you do not want to be consuming. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, go ahead and hit subscribe right now so you don't miss out on the next upload of my videos. And go ahead and share it, because you probably have someone that you already know, whether it's your neighbor, whether it's your family member, your church member, your co-worker, your friend, somebody that you know might be suffering from arthritis. And like I said, although many of these arthritis can't be prevented, they can be managed through a lot of what I share here on this channel. All right, so if you're ready, let's dig into the top 3 well-known arthritis that many of you already know and have heard about. So I'm going to start off with gout. G-O-U-T, gout. Gout usually happens in the toe. You get some kind of excruciating pain in your toe. You may not know why, but all of a sudden you head to the doctor and they tell you inflammation of your toe. All right, so what gout is, it's a buildup of uric acid in your body, and it usually affects the big toe. And while it usually affects the big toe, it can also get in other parts of your body, spread in other parts of your body. And when this uric acid builds up around your joints, it causes this severe pain, and it's because of the crystals, which are like needle-shaped crystals that are formed inside of your body, right? And I'm going to tell you a story And I think I shared this before. I'm pretty sure I did share this before about my cousin, one of my cousins, who shared with me that she had gout. Now, just a few weeks ago, she shared with me she had another bout of gout. And usually gout starts when you are eating oily food, lots of seafood, shellfish, sardines. Yeah, so this is how uric acid builds up in the body. And basically, if the uric acid has nowhere to release itself, then it's going to build up as inflammation in the body and cause joint pain, excruciating joint pain. I do remember my uncle years ago, bless his heart, he's now deceased, but he had gout on several occasions. And at that time, I didn't understand what gout was, right? And he would always say, baby, my toe is hurting. And I didn't understand it. I just thought maybe he hit it or something, right? But no, gout is serious. It really is a serious pain. So that is the first well-known arthritis that most people are familiar with or might have. If you have suffered from gout, share your comments and let me know, what did you do to relieve your gout? How are you managing it now? And what foods have you eliminated or scaled back on to not bring on flare-ups? Because gout can flare up and come back to haunt you, right? All right, so let's jump to number two. Number two, let me back up and say and give you some other reasons how gout can show up, right? And like I said, it's due to the high levels of the uric acid in the body. It's your diet, it's your seafood, your shellfish, your sardines, your herring, fish, organ meat, your red meats. I'm gonna get into that. I'm gonna get into all of this later. So just stick with me, guys. I'm trying to give you as much information as I can, all right? And it's alcohol, specifically beer. Which flares up this gout. So for those of you who are drinking, hopefully none of you are. So beer, yeah, alcohol, and then the sugary drinks, sodas, right? Any added sugars, like high fructose corn syrup, not good for you, right? Obesity, if you're overweight, then this can also cause the gout to form in your body. Why? Because once again, the kidneys have a hard time releasing these toxins from your body. And how do we release uric acid from the body? Is we urinate it out, right? Which is why it's so important that we drink pure water as often as we can, green juices. You know, we need healthy liquids to flush out those toxins. And when those toxins cannot get out, such as the uric acid, then it starts to build up inflammation in the body and starts to cause pain, right, in our joints, okay? And other things that cause gout is untreated health conditions, right? Like diabetes. You may not even realize that you have diabetes, right? And so this is another, these are signals. When you have joint pain, these are signs that are letting you know that something is wrong inside your body and I need your attention, right? So high blood pressure, chronic kidney disease, and metabolic syndrome. These untreated health conditions can form gout and other health-related diseases. All right, so that is number one of the top three well-known arthritis is gout. The next one, number two, is osteoarthritis. Osteoarthritis is inflammation of the bones, right? And this is where the cartilage and other tissues start to break down. You know, often you may have a family member or heard someone say, oh, I have to have knee surgery because it's, you know, my bones are bone to bone. There's no more cushion. That cushion is what protects us, called cartilage. And if the cartilage is no longer there or thinning out, then we start to develop osteoarthritis, inflammation of the bones, right? And this arthritis, osteoarthritis is usually associated with older age. Now, that does not mean that it can't happen to anyone, because if you're not taking care of your body properly, then age is no limit, right? But normally you will see osteoarthritis in older people. And one of the reasons, and this is just my thought process on this, so I think because when some individuals get older, they stop exercising, they stop taking walks, and they stop lifting small weights like 5-pound weights, when we know that we are to keep our bones healthy. This is one of the ways how we stay healthy is we do walking, we do small weights like 5 pounds. You don't have to break the gym, right? I'm not talking about going to the gym. I'm saying we need our nature walks at least 3 times a week. Because if you notice, even me, when I'm sitting, I don't like sitting at a desk working all day, because when I'm sitting, although I have a desk that, stands up and I can sit it down, right? A desk that rises, I still don't like sitting at my desk because I like moving. I like movement. It makes my body feel better. It makes me feel better when I can get out in the sun and take nature walks. And so that's what we need to do. Even if we're not at an older age, you still need to take walks, right? Because our bodies are not made to just sit. Our bodies are made to move, right? Not just sit and be still. And that's what happens when when older individuals stop their exercising, walking, and all this, then inflammation sets in the bones. And then that's when you start to develop bone disease or thinning cartilage and stuff like that. Because what happens is they need to be moved. They need to be worked, right? Our bodies were made to move and work and exercise and do all these things. Movement, right? And so that's what osteoarthritis is. Also, and some people develop osteoarthritis from injuries that they may have. You may have had a car accident, or you may have fallen on your and caused a knee or elbow or some kind of joint inflammation, right? Some kind of fracture. And so this is another way that you can develop osteoarthritis and not knowing that. And I think about my great aunt, bless her heart, who's not here any longer. She lived to 97. And she fell and broke her back when she was in her 80s, right? And I always checked on her, and when I went over there one day and I saw her limping or not walking and moving as fast as she normally does, because she's very active, she told me she slipped and fell. She was mopping her floor. And so she didn't want to go to the doctor. I said, no, we're going to the doctor. So when I took her to the doctor said that she had broken her back, right? And of course, we weren't about to do surgery, and she didn't want surgery. And so they gave her a back brace. My aunt, she's tough. She didn't want to wear the back brace. She wore it out of the doctor's office, but she didn't want to wear it after that, right? So long story short, in her 80s, and she still was doing well because she was always active, right? That was just a freak accident, freak fall. And later, she started to develop osteoarthritis in one of her legs, right? And so what did that do? That was starting the decline of her bone health, right? It started affecting her bones. And so, but she still lived till 97 because she was tough and she did everything that she possibly could to stay healthy, right? So I just wanted to share that story with you to let you know that being active is still good, no matter what age you are, whether you're walking every day or just lifting 5 pounds or whether you are helping somebody clean their homes or whatever it is. However you get that exercise, you got to move. We have to move, right? But so that's my take on how osteoarthritis can show up. No movement. It could be caused from an injury. So there's different ways, all right? So that's number 2 of the top 3 well-known arthritis that most of us know about. And the third one is rheumatoid arthritis, known as RA. And this one, unfortunately, is an autoimmune disease, right? Which means that the body attacks itself, thinking that these are foreign invaders that don't belong in the body. So what happens is that they try to beat them up, fight them off, right? These foreign invaders, when actually they're not foreign, right? So unfortunately, it causes inflammation in the body and damage and pain, right? And so this is rheumatoid arthritis. And when I was speaking about there are some arthritises that are not preventable or not reversible. Rheumatoid arthritis might be one of those, right? And so what you can do is still manage your rheumatoid arthritis just like you can any other arthritis, right? And so when you want to manage it, it's about lifestyle, it's about diet and movement. So rheumatoid arthritis is one of those that I know many of you are probably suffering from, or maybe if you are, let me know in the comments section below if you're suffering from rheumatoid arthritis, and let me know how you are managing yours. What are you doing? And at the end of this video, like I said, I'm going to share some resources with you on how you can continue to maintain your arthritis, whether it's rheumatoid arthritis, whether it's gout, whether it's osteoarthritis. I'm going to share some resources for you, so stick around to the end of this video. If you like what I'm sharing with you so far, give me a thumbs up, right? All right, so and I already shared that arthritis is the leading cause of disabilities in the United States of America, right? And so now I'm going to talk about the 6 contributors that are causing chronic inflammation, joint pain, and cartilage damage. All right, there are 6, and these are known as food additives, binding agents, flour enhancers, flour as in baking flour, yeah, and I'm going to break them down, and I'll save the best for the end, and so stick around. All right, so let's jump into it. Number 1, AGEs, and if you don't know what AGEs are, they are advanced glycation end products. That's what that stands for. Advanced glycation end products. And if you've had any kind of allergy test, you would know what these are, because if you had a really, really in-depth allergy test, they test your AGEs, right, to see how advanced or not they are. And think about the words that I am sharing with you today. I'm going to point out the important words that you need to be aware of when I share these food additives, these binding agents, these flour enhancers with you, because they are in the foods that you, in these restaurants, in these fast food restaurants or these fast drive-through, they're in a lot of what you're eating today. And that could be the cause of your inflammation, buildup, and your joint pain. So these you want to please be very careful and pay attention, right? So, advanced, that's a key word. Advanced glycation end products. So I'm going to break that down. So what are they? They're harmful. That's another key word. These are harmful compounds found when proteins or lipids combine with sugar, proteins, lipids, and sugar. 3 more keywords in your bloodstream, which equals glycation. When you have proteins, lipids, and sugar combined together in your bloodstream, this is called glycation. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, so if any of you are doctors or scientists listening, drop comments below and correct me when I start to explain this, okay? All right, so we're talking about proteins. We're talking about meat proteins, animal proteins. We're talking about bacon, sausage, deli meats, right? These are proteins I'm talking about. When I say lipids, I'm talking about oils and fats and cheeses and all these saturated fats, right? And then we know sugar, refined sugar, the bad sugar. So when you get all of these combined together, it starts to add up in our bloodstream, right? And this is the glycation phase, okay? So I'm gonna break each one of these down. So when I go to E, that's in AGEs, these are the end products, which refers to the final stage of the process that has accumulated, another key word, in the bloodstream over time. And this is what caused our tissues to damage and accelerate. Accelerate, another key word, means to skyrocket, elevate, accelerate, fast, quick. Accelerate oxidative stress. Oxidative stress, another key word. And this adds more madness and chaos. And now we have what? Inflammation. We have inflammation buildup, which leads to diseases like cardiovascular disease and diabetes, neurodegenerative disease, right? So I'm going to back up and I want to go over that one more time because I really want you to get this. And if this video is interesting to you, please hang on. If not, I'm okay with you, going and watching another video. But this is really important for those who are suffering from arthritis and joint pain, because I get a lot of comments. I make videos on foods and juices and smoothies, and you can have all the juices and the smoothies in the world, but if you don't understand the root cause of your joint pain and your inflammation, this is not going to do you any good. Right? This is only for when you are already have changed your lifestyle, you're looking to enhance your lifestyle for the better. But if you don't change your lifestyle for the better, it's not going to work. All right? Okay, I just wanted to throw that in there for you. All right, so, okay, I want to go over these because these AGEs are super important. And if you don't understand this, you will never get out of this joint pain and release this inflammation through elimination of these foods that are causing the problem. These enhancers, right? These additives. It's so serious, right? So again, advanced glycation end products are called AGEs. These are harmful compounds formed when proteins, keyword, lipids, keyword, are combined with sugar, keyword, and the bloodstream. That is when the glycation process begins, right? And this is when the final stage has accumulated in the blood over time, causing tissue damage to accelerate, increase, elevate, and build up, which now is leading to all sorts of diseases, right? And I said cardiovascular disease, diabetes, neurodegenerative conditions, right? So now, what is the final stage? What is the final stage? And why the final stage? These AGEs start to accumulate and formulate in the end stage, the final stage, during what's called the cooking process. Yeah, the cooking stage. This is when it all happens. This is when the magic happens, right? When you start to fry your meats, when you start to grill your meats, when you start to roast your meats, this is when AGEs begin to form. Now, this is because of the high temperatures, not because of cooking, it's because of the high temperatures. Think about it. When you're frying food in the oils, the fats, the unhealthy fats, the saturated fats, and these temperatures have risen. So that's when the AGEs go and find their way, and they start accumulating in our bodies because we're eating all these fried foods, all this grilled food, these meats with fat, right? That's when the problem starts. And I know you're probably asking yourself, well, what about if you saute your veggies and things like that? I'll get into that. But right now I'm talking about the fats and the meats, because this is where the big problem is, right? In these fats and these meats. And so it's the cooking method that accelerates the creation of these end products. And the end products are when your meat starts to brown, when the French fry starts to brown. We see these little bubbles in our meats, in the steaks, in the chicken, right? In the sausages. This is the AGE process. This is when they start their party. This is when they start to accumulate, right? And we're eating this, if we're eating this on a regular basis, on every day, every single day, the AGEs start to accumulate in our body. And that's where the joint pain begins. Okay? I hope that makes sense. If it does, give me a thumbs up. Let me know if this is making sense, because I really, really want you to get this. Okay, so when you think about this, I've read study after study after study after study for when I am trying to help you heal your body naturally from whatever this thing is, whether it's inflammation, whether it's to reverse diabetes, whether it's to get rid of brain fog, right? Study after study after study I've read and researched and listened to have said, increase your green vegetables, increase your fruit intake, increase healthy fats, increase legumes, beans, lentils, increase rest, relaxation. I've never read a study that said increase meat. If there are, and there are a few out there, but very few, and it's very limited at how they say increase. And it's not really a good source. If you found a good source that says increase your meat, please leave it in the comments, right? But the majority of the studies that I have read for different diseases, cancer, diabetes, heart disease, they all say increase your green vegetables, increase your fruit, increase sleep and rest, increase beans, lentils. And I know I'm repeating myself, but this is really important. I want you to really understand this. And it's ironic, right? All of these studies from hospitals, cancer institutes, individuals, this is what I've read and researched. And it says to what? Lower your meat intake. Why do you think they say lower your meat intake? Because they already know that if you eat enough meat, and you're cooking it, grilling it, frying it, roasting it on these high temperatures, they already know, right? That it's going to wear and tear your body down. It's going to allow your health to decline. Decrease your meat intake. Decrease your animal protein intake. Decrease the amount you eat per day, per week. That's all. Decrease. If you can't eliminate it, decrease it. And so this is ironic that I read this, right? And I know it's out there. It's out there. So let's move on. But before I move on to the second contributor that is causing your inflammation, your joint pain, and your cartilage damage and your arthritis, I want to say that one of the studies that I found stated that diets that are high in protein may increase the risk of chronic diseases, and particularly cardiovascular disease, high cholesterol. That's all cardiovascular disease. This is one of the studies that I've read, many of the studies that I've read, not just one, right? This is out there. So it's already telling you that diets that are high in animal protein may increase cardiovascular disease, chronic disease, right? And I remember when I was working, one of my coworkers, we were talking, and, I was just sharing with them that, slow down your roll on eating meat. And they said, I will eat meat until I die. I said, okay, that's fine. But on another occasion, I heard out of his mouth, out of their mouth, that I have to take these cholesterol pills. And it dawned on me, I said, cholesterol pills. Could it be too much saturated fat that you're eating? It's something in the diet that you're eating or that you're not doing, and that perhaps if you begin that healthy routine that I was trying to share with you, then maybe you would get off of these cholesterol pills, right? So I'm just saying, we have to be cognizant of what we're saying, right? I'm going to eat meat until I die. That's fine. But can you lower your meat for your health? Does your health matter to you that much that you can lower your meat intake if it meant the difference between living or not? I'm just asking that question. These are things that we have to ask ourselves. What is it that really matters? And if life doesn't matter to you, then that's fine. I'm okay, right? I'm just sharing my wisdom, my knowledge, my experience here on this channel to help those who are really, really wanting help. If that's you, leave me a comment and let me know you are really, really wanting my help, and this is helping you and it's encouraging to you, because that's what this channel is about, right? It's not about me. I didn't make this channel about myself. I made it for you, those of you who need help, and that's what I'm doing, trying to do to help you. All right, so let's move on to number two. Number two, aspartame. And you probably heard of this, and you probably seen it, right? These little cute yellow packages in your coffee shop, in your office break room. They're pink and they're yellow. Well, this is called aspartame, right? You know what this is? It's artificial. It's an artificial sweetener. Keyword, artificial. Artificial. You don't want anything artificial in your body, right? Nothing artificial. And this is like, this artificial sweetener acts like a foreign invader, right? It's when it's inside your body, it's like, what is this? Right? What is this? It doesn't need to belong here. And it doesn't. It's artificial. Anything artificial going inside your body, don't need it, right? It's such a cute pink And one is a pink package, one is a yellow package. And you know what I'm talking about? You might still find them at Starbucks. I don't know, because I'm not a coffee drinker, I'm a tea drinker. But you might find it at Starbucks. But you can sure find it in your break room in your office building where you work, right? And where else can you find this little packet? Any fast food restaurant probably have it. If you go to Arby's, or if you go to, let's see, Cracker Barrel, you might find it. If you some of them are getting smart though. They put in these little brown packages of sugar now, and these are supposed to be healthier. So read the contents, read the labels, right? All right, so that is causing your joint pain and your inflammation in the body. Stop using aspartame. It's artificial, and it's worsening your inflammation in the body, and it's causing more and more joint pain. All right, that's number 2. Number 3, let's jump on to number 3. Many of you may or may not have heard of this one, and I say that because I just want you to be aware of the names of these artificial flavors, binders, flour enhancers. They have unique names, and some of them have more than one. But I know these names because I've been in this space for quite a while, and I've seen it in my own product before I knew more about it. So this one is called carrageenan. Carrageenan. Carrageenan, in case you want to look that up. It's a food additive. Additives. We don't need additives to our food unless we're using seasonings that we know about. We're adding olive oil, but when you start adding all of these binders and these artificial flavors, we are just adding to the problem. It's a lot. I know it's a lot. We're adding to the problem, right? So it's a food additive. It's a stabilizer. It stabilizes whatever the contents of that food is, right? It keeps it together from moving or from doing whatever they think it needs to not do, right? And so, but it's derived from red seaweed. And for those of you who may have sea allergies or seafood allergies, you're drinking this or eating it. And I'm going to tell you where you find this, right? I'm going to tell you where it is. So again, this is used as a thickener. It's a thickener. So think about these words: thickener, artificial sweetener. Okay, what is in my thickener? What's in my artificial sweetener? We got to ask ourselves these questions, right? And so this thickener is in coffee creamers. Read the ingredients, ladies and gentlemen. Read your ingredients. Coffee creamers. It's in protein shakes. If you get a shake from your favorite fast food drive-thru, it could be in there. Don't know. It's in your salad dressings. It's even in pet food. What? If your pet is acting a little strange, it could be he or she got a hold of some carrageenan, right? All right. And seriously, it's in dairy milk products. It's in plant-based milks. Years ago, when I first started using plant-based milk, it was coconut milk, right? And before I knew what carrageenan was and what it did for the body, I stopped using it. I stopped buying that coconut milk that carried it because it's right on the box label of that coconut milk. Yeah, doesn't matter if it's all natural, plant-based, or whole milk. If it's in there and it's not doing our bodies any good, we don't need it, right? And studies have come out and said that, the food grade of carrageenan is okay, right? Well, what else is it supposed to be if it's not food? What other kind of grade is it supposed to? These are questions that I'm always asking myself. You guys always find a way to make it sound so sweet and good that we just consume it and buy it and consume it and buy it and consume it until we get sick, right? So pay attention to the labels, to the ingredients before you put it in your cart, before you put it in that basket. And before you put it in your mouth, most importantly, right? So it's in yogurts. And I already checked the yogurt that I shared with you guys. According to their statement, they do not use any fillers, no binders, no carrageenan is in that yogurt, that Greek yogurt that I shared with you on a couple of videos back, right? So check the labels, okay? It's also in deli meats. Yeah, deli meats. It's crazy. It's crazy, you know? So be cautious. Be cautious. Check your creamers. These creamers and these coconut milks, plant-based, regular milks, it might taste good because of that extra thickener, or that creamer might taste good because it makes the coffee and the tea. Some people use it in their teas, but it's causing digestive issues, right? This is just horrible. It's causing gastrointestinal ulcerations. This is what's happening, chronic inflammation. Because why? We do it over and over and over and over, and we just ignore the pain and think that this is what happens when we get older. That is not normal, ladies and gentlemen. That's not normal, right? And so, and even synovitis, which is inflammation of the tissue lining the joint. So when you have your knees, some of you may be suffering from knee pain, joint pain in your knees. These are some of the things that you want to write down, get a food diary, and ask yourself, what is it that I'm eating, that I could be eating, that might remove this joint pain? These are some of the things that I am sharing with you today. So that was number 3, carrageenan. Okay, let's move on to number 4. There are 6 of them. Let's move on to number 4. Number 4 is MSG. MSG. What is MSG? Monosodium glutamate. Monosodium glutamate. Right? That's what MSG stands for. What is it? A food additive. Keyword, additive. They added it to whatever this thing is, or now you're eating it, right? This enhances flavor, which is why we get trapped. Because, oh, it tastes so good. Whatever they put it, whatever they added in that mix, it tastes so good. And I'll tell you a story. When I was living on the East Coast, I went to an Asian restaurant, which is where most of the MSG is found. But I'll tell you some other places where MSG is found. But anyway, I was meeting a friend for lunch, and it was at one of the Asian Klingon restaurants. And I won't say the name, but it was an Asian restaurant. And, you know, at the time, I kind of knew about soy because I don't do soy. I knew about soy. And so I tried that restaurant several times, and each time I would have a reaction. And I thought it was from the soy, right? Because I just know my body very well. And later, come to find out, you know, through studying and through my education at nutrition school, I found out about MSG and how it affects the body. And so that was kind of like, sort of like the end of my time at most of those, the Asian restaurants back then, only because I don't think that there were any meals that I could consume. That was the only reason why. But now, fast forward, it's totally different. You know, you can get foods, Asian food, without MSG, I believe. And so, yeah, so that's what MSG is, monosodium glutamate, and a food additive which enhances the flavor. So be careful when you're when things taste so good, it's something in there. You know, you can enhance your flavors with your own seasonings, you know, but anyway, let's move. Let's talk about it. So where is this MSG found? It's found in your frozen meal packages. So for those of you who are buying frozen meals, so when you go to your favorite store, look at the ingredients and see what's in there. Because most of these foods have the ingredients on the package. At least they are supposed to. I'll say that. They are supposed to have the ingredients for allergy reasons. That is by law. They should have what is inside the package. Now, it's not their fault if you don't read the ingredients, because they already labeled them. And if they say MSG, or if they say monosodium glutamate in there, then you know that's MSG, right? Unless they uncovered it with another name, which some of these conglomerates do, right? They hide it under different names that we can't pronounce, names that you never heard of. So the rule of thumb, if you can't pronounce the name, you never heard of it, go look it up first before you consume it or buy it, and that will save you lots of pain in the future. Okay, so frozen meals, processed meats, once again, processed meats, deli meats, sausages. You can find this in packaged sausages, packaged deli meats, packaged whatever kind of meats they have packaged. Look at the label, right? It's even in ketchup, guys. Ketchup. Why do we need MSG in ketchup? I thought ketchup was made from tomatoes. Can you just make fresh ketchup out of tomatoes and leave all the other additives out? The artificial thickeners and flavors out of that, right? So that's where it is. You can find this in soy sauce, MSG, because, you know, that's part of what the Asian community do is, you know, like, and if you're Asian, listen to this, by the way, let me know if many of the restaurants are still putting MSG in the foods and the sauces. That would help a lot, right? Help a lot of us in our community. Thank you. All right, so salad dressings and fast foods. This is where you're going to find MSG. And spoiler alert, some of you may be going to these restaurants, these local restaurants in your local neighborhoods, but I don't want to name them because I have eaten there before at probably one of them. No, I took someone there. That's what it was. But I haven't eaten there in a long time. But anyway, these restaurants, and I looked it up. I'm talking about the fried chicken, the baked chicken, their sauces all have MSG in it. And I was appalled. This is why these kids, your children, your grandchildren, you are having so many issues with our health, is because all of these additives. Why in the world do you need MSG in your sauce? When the kids put them on their chicken nuggets, it's MSG in there. They have sugar in there. They have corn syrup. You can go look at the menu when you go to some of these fast food. Just go and do your research. I want you to do this. I want you to see how much is in just a small package of honey mustard sauce, of ranch sauce, corn syrup, fructose corn syrup, MSG, artificial flavor, sugar. Whether it's brown sugar or white sugar, you still don't need all this, right? Why is it that we still have all of this in here? So please do your research and go check out what's in these foods, right? So especially those of you or your kids or your grandkids who have all of these allergies, these sensitivities. There's eggs and egg yolk and some of this stuff that if you have egg allergies, you're defeating your health purpose. Okay. All right. So what can MSG do? Increase the inflammation in the body, which leads to joint pain and arthritis. All right. So that's number 4. Now, the next 2 that I'm going to tell you about are the leading 2 for osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. If you have rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis, you need to eliminate this. And for those of you who have other arthritis, this might be your problem as well. But specifically for those of you who are suffering from rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis, you want to remove these next 2 that I'm going to be talking about. All right, so let's go. But before I go to those next 2, I want to give you some helpful resources that's going to set you up for success when it comes to your health and your well-being, especially your arthritis, to help you prevent the onset of arthritis and to help you manage your arthritis if you are already suffering from arthritis. And possibly some of you might be able to feel the reversal effects when I give you these 2 resources. All right, so let's go. Get your pen and your piece of paper so you can write these down, because I want you to go and do some homework for me. All right. So number 1, a rheumatologist, and if you already have, if you have RA or rheumatoid arthritis, you might already have a rheumatologist, but I want you to know that you really need to make sure that they are a board certified physician who specialize in rheumatoid arthritis, and they treat autoimmune diseases they treat autoimmune and connective tissue diseases, both for arthritis and for rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis. Okay, so this is very important. A rheumatologist, you want to make sure that they are board certified physician who specialize in treating autoimmune and connective tissue diseases, both for osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, that's number 1. The second resource I want you to look for is, I want you to search for a naturopathic arthritis rheumatologist, right? Doctor, here in the U.S. Now, if you are calling or tuning in from the UK or Dublin, Ireland, or or Jamaica, somewhere like that, you want to look for these that are in your local area, right? These are rheumatologists and naturopathic arthritis and rheumatologist doctors, right? They do have naturopathic rheumatologists for those of you who want to go the holistic route and not the conventional route. So you have choices. It's your body, you have a choice. You can do the conventional route, or you can do the naturopathic route, the holistic route, right? So, or you can do both, because some of these board certified physicians, whether they are conventional or whether they are holistic, they do both. They integrate both, depending on where you are in your health journey. Okay, so that was number 2. And then the third one is you want to have an RF test, which is a rheumatoid factor test, which is done through a blood test, right? And your doctor should know. So I think, specifically, especially those of you who know for sure, or you may not know, you want to rule out the fact that it's rheumatoid arthritis or if it's osteoarthritis, because from reading the comments on my channel, a lot of you seem to be suffering from excruciating joint pain and arthritis, and you have been, it looks like, for a long time. So please go and find a rheumatologist in your area, or a naturopathic doctor that specializes in rheumatology and arthritis. This is what you need for those of you, because even though I share a lot of information on my channel about how to remove, reverse, and manage arthritis and joint pain, it's not going to help if you don't know exactly what's going on, right? It could help, but you really need to get to the root cause, problem, right? And I'm not pretending to be a doctor, because I'm not, right? I am helping you to incorporate healthy habits for your mind, your body, and your soul. And that comes in food, juices, smoothies, and even exercise. So this is what this channel is about. But I also try to help you find and refer you out to what you need most. Okay? So the third one, like I said, get her a rheumatoid factor test, which is a blood test. And it's real simple. It's quick, from what I understand. And what it does is it measures the rheumatoid factors in your blood, right? The antibodies inside of your blood to determine the diagnosis or not. You may have rheumatoid arthritis and you may not, right? So you want to get that tested. All right. So those are the helpful resources that I have for you on that. Now I'm going to jump to the last two important contributors that are causing your joints to be inflamed, more inflammation, which causes pain and all of that. So let's jump to it. All right, so all right, you ready for it? Let's go. Number 5, casein. Casein. What is casein? Casein. Wherever you are tuning in from, how do you say it? Casein, right? Well, this is a dairy protein. And I know I've shared this on some of my videos in the past. This is a dairy protein, which means that it is found in all dairy products. Yogurt, milk, cheese, cottage cheese, creamers, butter, and even some mayonnaise, right? This is where this dairy protein is found. And this is a high quality protein, which makes up about 80% of a cow's milk, right? And you may not be drinking the cow's milk, but if you're eating the dairy products of a cow, and this casein might be wreaking havoc on your joints, causing inflammation more than you want, right? You may have an allergy. So now, listen up to this here, because lots of people get these wrong, and I'm going to explain it to you right now. So, lactose intolerance is not the same thing as having a milk allergy. And many people get that wrong, right? That is not the same thing, okay? So the milk allergy is related to your immune system. Is how your immune system is relating to this milk, right? That is the difference. So the lactose intolerance affects those of you who may have an enzyme deficiency. Remember I talked about those enzymes and getting your enzymes checked? Seriously, get those enzymes checked. And the enzyme that I'm specifically talking about today is lactase. Lactase. The lactase, you may have a deficiency in that, which is the enzyme. Okay? So once again, the milk allergy can trigger and cause gastrointestinal and systemic inflammation, joint pain. Why? Because the high saturated fats that's in this milk casein. Casein. That could be your problem. The flip side, the lactase enzyme, if you have a deficiency and you don't know it, you may not know it, but that's what's causing your digestive issues. And I know from a lot of the comments on some of my other videos, my previous videos, many of you talk about how you have digestive issues and how you can't digest this properly, or cabbage or whatever. You may have a deficiency in these enzymes. But this one I'm talking about is the lactase enzyme, lactase. And this wreaks havoc in your gut because it's an immune response. And your immune is saying, oh, I don't know what this is. It's foreign to me. So let's wreak havoc on the gut, right? That's what it does. And so then what's going to happen? You're going to have diarrhea. You may have gas. You may have bloating. That is what the lactose enzyme deficiency could mean for you. When you have this type of deficiency, lactase deficiency, your body is not able to break down the milk sugars, which is called lactose. Lactose, right? It's not inflammation and joint pain. So those are two different things, and I thought I wanted to explain that so you can understand that, because on this channel I like to help you get to the root cause of the problem, right? And so sometimes it takes excessive explaining, more explaining than not, right? And so why I care? Because I know I've been there. I've been there with gut issues. I've been there with joint pain. I've been there with fibroids. I've been there with brain fog. I've been there with all of these things, right? And I had to find out how to help myself after going to doctor after doctor after doctor, whether it was holistic, conventional. And it wasn't until I got to the holistic doctor to help me understand that through these tests, this is what's going on in your body. So this is where I am. And I know how you feel. Those of you who are in pain, who are in joint pain, I know how you feel because I've been there. And if nobody was there to explain to me how to get out of this, I want to be there for you, right? So that's what I'm doing here. All right. So we know that the casein is found in dairy products, right? Once again, cheese, yogurt, butter, all milk, all dairy products. That's where casein is found. Okay? Cream, ice cream. I was an ice cream fanatic. I ate ice cream every single night after dinner. I couldn't wait until it was dessert time. So, and then I kicked the habit instantly. That was me. If I knew that I wanted to get rid of something, that's what I did. I stopped it instantly. But I know some of you can't do that. So you want to take it slow, right? And so that's how you do that. So keywords: milk, cheese, yogurt, butter, creams, ice cream. So if you have any of these allergies, and you don't realize, this might be your answer, okay? And this is what's triggering your joint pain and your inflammation. So it's one of these two. If you have osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, for sure, you need to eliminate this. All right? Okay. Da-da-da! This one you may not like, but I'm going to share it with you anyway, and I'm going to tell you a story. Someone that I know called me one day and said, Renee, I've been having a lot of joint pain all in my body, and I don't know what it is. The doctors don't know what it is. And finally, they mentioned this one hidden protein that she was eating. And when she stopped, she called me and she said, it was hard. Don't get me wrong. It was hard to get rid of this one protein that I'm about to share with you. It was very difficult. But she noticed a difference between night and day when it came to her joint pain. The inflammation disappeared. Her joint pain got better, not worse. She felt good. That's what she told me. She felt good. I'm like, awesome. All right. So that might be you. And I'm hoping if you eliminate or minimize this one protein that I'm about to share with you, and you're probably going to have to eliminate it. That's what I did. I had to eliminate it. It was hard. I'm not going to sit here and make it sound like it was easy, because it wasn't. I'm going to be very transparent with you. Why was it hard to eliminate this one protein? Because it's in everything. That's why. It was a challenge. And I went through that challenge for maybe a year or so, if not more, because I was trying to figure out what in the world am I going to eat when I get rid of this. And here it is. Gluten. Yep. Gluten. Gluten is wheat. It's in pretty much everything, but mainly it's wheat. It's in rye. It's in barley. It's in, what else is this in? Spelt, farro, kamut, and durum. Durum is a binder that's added in a lot of pasta. I know that because I've seen it, right? Gluten is the hidden protein that triggers systemic inflammation. Keyword, systemic inflammation and autoimmune response. Keyword, autoimmune response. Rheumatoid arthritis and psoriatic arthritis. If that's you, get rid of your gluten. If you're having all of this joint pain, go on a gluten-free diet for 2 weeks and see how you feel. Challenge yourself and see how you feel. Gluten is found in so many things. It's also in beer and alcohol. And sometimes that's why you see lots of individuals with, they call them beer bellies. This is one of the reasons. Gluten is in so much. It's in alcohol, beer, even your medication, some of your medications. Check with your doctor and say, hey doc, can you, if it's not labeled on your prescription, say, hey doc, can you find out for me what's inside, all the ingredients that's inside this medication? Because I just want to make sure that it's going to do what it's supposed to do, right? It's your body. You have to take control, right? The doctor's only going to prescribe, but you have to be the controller of your body, all right? Soups, it's in deli meats, it's in candy. Gluten is a thickener. It acts like a thickener, right? It holds the glue together. It holds things together just like glue, right? When something breaks or cracks, we put glue on it to keep it together, right? How many of you done that? That's what gluten is. It holds things together, right? It's a stabilizer. This is in cookies, it's in cakes, it's in crackers, muffins, oats. That's why you can find gluten-free oats, right? Stilled oats, gluten-free, right? It's in fried foods. They use it at these fast food restaurants. You know, when they're making this delicious, crispy chicken, there's your gluten. Any fried food, you're going to find some gluten. Probably, well, let me back up and say any fried chicken, because the batter is probably gluten filled, which means it's wheat. There's your gluten. Anytime where you see wheat, that's gluten, right? That's gluten. It's in pretzels, it's in snacks, and so much more, right? And so I shared the story about this lady, and I'm happy and excited. I was so happy for her because I went through a battle with this gluten. I didn't know what to eat. I couldn't figure it out. And then all of a sudden I saw gluten-free this, gluten-free that, gluten-free. But just because it's gluten-free does not mean it's healthy. I want you to know that and understand that, right? You still need to pay attention to the labels and what's inside those labels. So please be reminded, just because it's gluten-free doesn't mean it's always healthy. But for those of you who are suffering from arthritis, it's inflammation, it's joint pain, gluten is one of 6 of these food stabilizers, flour enhancers, artificial flavors, sweeteners that might be contributing to your inflammation in the body, your joint pain in the body, your arthritis, your rheumatoid arthritis. And arthritis is an umbrella. Arthritis is the main problem. Underneath arthritis, there's 100 different types of arthritis. I've only named 3 today. Just 3. Gout, rheumatoid arthritis, and osteoarthritis, right? Those are the only 3 that I named today, but we have hundreds more of inflammations. Inflammation can step anywhere in the body. So what is the key takeaway here for you today? The key takeaway is, please pay attention to your labels and what you're consuming, because it really matters at the end of the day. Ask questions when you are ordering or eating out at restaurants. Ask questions. Look it up. It's out there. It's on the menu. You got to dig deep in the menu to find the ingredients that's inside. All right? And then prepare at least 80 to 85% of your meals at home, because you know what you're putting in your meals, right? Prepare these meals at home. That's safer, especially if you're really, really suffering from this arthritis and this joint pain. You don't need to eat out, right? Because until you can calm the fire, because that's what inflammation is. It's a fire. It's like a fire inside of your body that's happening, and it doesn't know how to put itself out. So you have to help put it out. And how you help put it out is eliminate these foods that I'm talking about, right? And start incorporating more fruits and vegetables, greens, juices, and healthy liquids, water, pure water, right? This is how you do that, okay? And then manage your daily diets, right? Exercise, manage your emotional health and your well-being. This all matters as well. Your physical activity, get out and take a walk. When you take that first step, you're going to feel so much better. And you might be saying, I can't walk. My feet hurt too bad. My legs hurt too bad. My joints hurt. Stand up. Stand up. It starts here. This brain of ours is very powerful. Would you tell it? It's going to happen. If you say, I'm getting up, I'm standing up, and I'm walking, you're going to walk. And you're going to keep walking until you can't walk anymore, right? But you're going to never look back. And that's what I did. I finally got tired of laying in that bed with that joint pain. And I said, you know what? It's not going to defeat me. I got up and I never looked back. And here I am today teaching you. So you can do this, right? But you got to tell your mind that you can. Get in a social group. Community is important for our emotional well-being, our mental health. We have to be in some kind of social community. I'm not saying with 20, 30 people. Find somebody that you can trust and you can share what's happening in your life. Somebody that wants to laugh and someone who wants to lift you up with positive thinking, positive energy, positive talking, right? Lower your animal protein intake. Lower your unhealthy fats. Lower your unhealthy pastas where all the gluten is, right? They're gluten-free grains. Quinoa is one of the top, probably the only grain, gluten-free, that has all of the essential amino acids in it. Complete protein. has all of the 14 essential amino acids. You can make quinoa in different ways. I made quinoa pancakes, I think the other day. There's so many things that you can do with quinoa. Quinoa is quinoa. And somebody used to pronounce it quinoa, right? But you know, when you know, you know. If you don't, now you know. Quinoa, right? It is not a it's not a rice. It's like a rice, but it's not a rice. It's a healthier grain, plant-based grain, and you can eat it for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. You can add vegetables to it. You can add your beans to it. You can make it into so many different dishes. I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, give me a thumbs up. Share it, like it, so YouTube can send it out to the masses. Because we have too many people suffering. Too many people suffering from this debilitating disease called inflammation and joint pain and arthritis. That's too many people in this United States of America. It's too many of us. Too many of you. And we got to get out of this, right? We want to rise to the top and not stay at the bottom of all these diseases, okay? All right, I will link the last video that I did a couple of weeks ago about juicing for your joints. Now that's going to help you, that's going to taste good to you, and that's going to help begin your journey to say yes to healthy living, healthier living, and no to fast foods and all of these unhealthy food enhancers, artificial and sweeteners, food binders, food binding agents, flour enhancers. We don't need all of this artificial stuff. All right. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Take great care of yourself. Bye-bye.